Hello, beautiful midlife queens. Welcome to the Midlife Reinvention Queen podcast. I'm your host, Lorena Vasolo, and this is Midlife Unfiltered, Unhinged, and Unapologetic. This is the space where we unhook from all the BS narratives and conditioning about women in midlife, and we embrace our midlife queen era. And today we are diving into an episode that is very close to my heart because it is about finding love again in midlife. And it's about something that so many of us crave, but sometimes we are just too afraid to admit out loud, or we just don't know if it's possible for us. We don't believe it's possible for us at this stage of our lives. And so let's dive in to finding love again in midlife and how your energy attracts your partner. And most women think that finding love after 40, 50, or 60 is either impossible or luck-based, that if it hasn't happened yet, is too late, or that romance belongs to the young and not to women in midlife. But here's the truth. Love in midlife isn't luck. It's about you. It's about your energy, and it's about how you are living in alignment with yourself, first and foremost. It's not even about the other person. It's about you. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again, that most women in midlife have spent decades disconnected from themselves, from their bodies, from their desires, from their passions, from their feminine energy, from their pleasure. And they've spent decades overgiving, overachieving, overdoing, and silencing themselves and numbing themselves and repressing themselves and neglecting themselves in order to be good, in order to be valued, in order to be accepted. And they follow rules. And in doing so, and you've followed the rules, right? And in doing so, you have dimmed yourself. You have dimmed your radiance. You have betrayed yourself in many levels. And midlife is calling you to reclaim yourself and to reignite your pleasure, your passions, your desires, and to step fully into your midlife queen era. And that is the real secret to attraction in midlife. That is the real secret to finding love in midlife. It starts with you. And I want to say that this doesn't just apply to finding new love. It applies to if you have a current love, a current relationship, you're in a relationship, you're married, you have a husband or a partner. These principles apply to reigniting that flame of passion, of intimacy, of connection, of love, of desire, of romance, of sensuality and pleasure. Whether it's a new love or an old love or an existing love. And while I am going to speak about my own story and while I am going to speak a lot about my own story and how finding love is possible in midlife, all of this also applies for if you've already found love, but maybe it's felt disconnected or like you can't remember the last time that you felt passion, romance, desire, excitement in your relationship. This is for you as well. And I want to start by saying that finding love in midlife isn't about searching, chasing, or focusing or forcing. It's about coming home to yourself. It's not about your body or your body shape or your age. It's about your energy. It's about your presence. It's about your aliveness. I met the love of my life at 45. And not because I was looking, but because I had come home to myself. I had softened into myself. I had aligned with myself. And I had learned to honor myself, my body, my desires, my pleasure, my passions. And I had learned to receive. I had learned to prioritize and feel pleasure, joy, passion. And in doing so, I became magnetic in a way that I never had been before. And, society teaches us that romance in midlife is complicated, messy, impossible, baggage, this or that. But that's only one narrative, but it doesn't have to be that way. The only rules that matter to finding love or reigniting existing love in midlife is you must show up fully for yourself first. It all starts with you first. And it has to do with releasing the fear of being too much or of being undeserving. It has to do with stepping out of self-sabotaging patterns. It has to do with embracing vulnerability and intimacy as a strength. It has to do with aligning yourself with your feminine energy, reconnecting with your body, aligning your life with your desires, with your passions. It has to do with you prioritizing your passions, your pleasure, your desires before you expect someone else to. And when you do this, love and passion and pleasure and romance don't just appear, they flow naturally. And when it arrives and when it happens, it feels deeper, it feels truer, it feels freer and more intentional than anything you've ever experienced before. And I know this because I've lived this, right? I've been through heartbreak, disappointment, self-doubt, and I've been through, the midlife dating experience, and I've emerged empowered, embodied, magnetic, and it was only when I truly anchored myself in my own desires, pleasures, and passions that I was able to meet the love of my life, who was able to meet me where I was and match that. And so when I talk about finding love again in midlife or reigniting your love again in midlife, it's not just any love. We're talking about a deep soul level, emotionally safe, stable, grounded, mature, wildly alive, fully embodied kind of love. That's the kind of love that we want, my beautiful queens. We don't just want something that looks like love, but it's really infatuation, trauma bonding, and superficial. We want the kind of love that makes you feel met, that makes you feel seen, cherished, celebrated, honored, that has that devotion, that desire for exactly who you are now. That is a love that meets you fully, that sees you and honors you fully, not who you used to be, not who you have to pretend to be, but who you truly are. And I want to really remind you that you're not too old and you're not too late, and your most beautiful love story is still ahead of you. And if you are in a current relationship, you can take it to that next level. And I say this with such conviction and belief because I met the love of my life at 45 after an 18-year marriage, after becoming a single mom, after heartbreak, healing, motherhood, and years of building a life and an identity that didn't always leave space for softness or receiving or romance, right? I was always hyper independent, hyper achieving. I was living disconnected from my body in survival mode. And so when midlife arrived, it truly cracked me open for the better. And what I learned is this: to attract extraordinary love in this season of life, you don't need to try harder. You don't need to perform, or become someone who you're not. You need to open deeper. You need to reconnect deeper. You need to reclaim yourself and your body and your pleasure and your desires and your passions. And I want to take you back to that moment in my life when it was a chapter in my life where everything was being rearranged, right? things that used to feel solid weren't, right? I had left an 18-year marriage. I had left a career. I was a single mom. I was really starting over on every level, emotionally, financially, right? Starting over. And for a while, I didn't think I wanted love again. There was a part of me that was like, I'd just rather be alone, right? Like, I don't want to experience any of that toxicity anymore. And, I was always very strong and independent and capable. And, I told myself, I'm fine on my own. But underneath all that, I had always been a romantic, open to love and longing for that true, deep love that felt like coming home, right? That partner that could meet me and make me feel seen and cherished and protected and celebrated and honored on every level. And so I deeply longed to be met, not to be saved, not to be completed, but to be met and to be fully loved and cherished and honored and celebrated and devoured. And I had all these desires and needs and longings that I had been carrying for decades, right? And so I was really longing to find someone who could hold the fullness of who I'd become, of who I was. The fire, the softness, the strength, the wildness, the wisdom, all the sides of me, all the versions of me, right? The wise woman, the wild woman, the sensual woman, the capable woman, and every single aspect of me. And I really was looking for a man who could truly see, hold, protect, love, honor, and cherish and celebrate the fullness of who I am. And that's what I truly believe every single one of us wants. And sometimes we think we're looking for that, but we're not, right? We settle for less. And it's not because there's something wrong with us. It's just that we just have been conditioned to settle for less and to not prioritize ourselves and we carry layers of protection and from years of conditionings and trauma and having to be the strong one, the responsible one, the do-it-all. And you make walls of self-sufficiency and hyper-independence. And so while those walls keep us safe, they also keep intimacy and love and true connection out. And so here's what changed everything for me, and what changes everything for you if you are in that same place is I stopped trying to attract love and I started embodying love for myself. Instead of asking, where is he? I started asking, who am I being? Who do I want to be? How am I being right now? Because love, the kind of love that's real, that's secure, that's magnetic, that's passionate, that's deep, that's intimate, doesn't come from chasing, proving, or performing. It comes from embodiment. It comes from the energy of a woman who feels safe in her body, confident in who she is, connected to herself, who knows what she needs, who knows what she desires, who knows what she's worth, and she honors that, right? She trusts herself. And that is what a midlife queen embodies, right? A midlife queen has strength, but she has also softened her edges, not because she's weak, but because she's rooted. She's rooted in her body, right? And that's why that's why I started working with my body and doing embodiment and somatic practices. And I practiced slowing down. I healed the part of myself that equated control with safety, achievement with worthiness. I let myself receive more. I let myself experience more, right? Whether it's receive and experience more compliments, receive and experience more help and support, receive and experience more ease and pleasure, receive and experience more joy, more passion, more desire. I stopped living like I was preparing for battle. And I started living like I was preparing for intimacy, for pleasure, for beauty, for passion, for romance, for dreamy, juicy life. And here's the truth. Your body can't receive what your nervous system doesn't feel having. I will say that again, let that land. Your body can't experience or receive what your nervous system doesn't feel safety having. So working with your nervous system through embodiment practices and somatic practices, working with your subconscious blocks, is key. I can't say this enough. That's the number one thing I did and that every woman needs to do. Because if deep down you don't trust being seen, if deep down inside you don't trust your body, you don't trust yourself, you don't trust being adored, being chosen, being loved, being seen, you will subconsciously block that very love, that very partner that you say you desire. And this goes for finding love and for every other aspect of your life, whether it's finances, career, relationships, sex, love, money, health, you name it. So my work became creating safety in my body and creating safety with my nervous system, and not safety from pain and suffering and learning through the hard lessons, but safety through pleasure, safety in pleasure, safety in surrender, safety in feeling and experiencing and receiving more, safety in being loved, safety in feeling desire, pleasure, passion, joy, safety in me exploring that for myself first in my body. That's what embodiment really is. Allowing yourself to feel safety and surrender to yourself first, to your own heart, to your own desires, to your own passions, your joy, your pleasure. The art of feeling safe enough to be your full self and to experience and feel more and to receive more from life and from a man, from a partner. And when you're in this energy, something shifts. You stop chasing, right? You stop chasing chemistry and just a spark, and you start choosing connection, true, real, grounded connection. You stop performing for love and you start radiating love. You suddenly become magnetic. Because magnetism isn't about how you look. It's about how you feel about yourself, first and foremost, how you feel in your own skin. It's what happens when your inner energy, your nervous system, and your heart, and your body, and your mind are all aligned in congruency, in coherence. And they're saying, I am open, I am ready, I am safe, I receive. This is key. That's when he will feel you. Not your profile picture, not your achievements, right? Not what you look like. He will feel your essence, your energy. That's exactly what happened to me. When I met my husband, there was no game, no performance, no perfect version of me trying to impress him. There was just presence, ease, softness, connection. He saw me because I was seeing myself. And that's what I want every woman in midlife to know. You don't need to shrink, chase, prove. You just need to return to your essence, to return to yourself, to the woman underneath all the armor, all the performance, all the conditioning. Return to yourself. And, when I met at 45, I'm 52 and a half now. When I met Aldo, my husband, it was completely unexpected, completely what felt by chance, but it was in a way, it was in the perfect way, because I was at the point in my life where I had spent, over 2-3 years just focusing on myself and my daughter, focusing on being safe and building myself, my energy, my embodiment, my worth, my desires, my love, my pleasure, and exploring the things that made me feel love, and I gave myself permission to explore and do the things that brought me pleasure, joy, that allowed me to explore my passions, explore my desires. And I gave myself that permission on my own. And I was living in that energy of fullness, of being fully met and seen by myself. I was honoring myself and celebrating myself and prioritizing myself. And I had gotten to this point where I said, I am full right now. I love my life. I am loving myself. I feel full and I am happy and fulfilled as I am. And yes, I desire to find that true love, that man, that partner that can meet me where I'm at now in all my fullness. But I'm not going to chase or look for it. When that man comes along, I will know, because the universe, God, will bring him, put him in front of me. I will attract it, will magnetize. And that's not woo-woo, right? That's just the law of energy, right? And I just let it be, let it go. And I trusted and I put my focus on myself. And, that's exactly after all that completely by chance, I was out and and one night I had gone out to dinner and then we were going to go dancing and we arrived to this place and they said, it's so full. Would you mind sitting at a table where there's already other people, but there's some chairs available? And we said, sure, no problem. And they sat me in front of who is now my husband. And that's how our story began. And it was an instant connection. We instantly felt this connection, this draw to each other, and started talking and, couldn't stop talking all night. And the rest is history. We've been together for over 7 years now. And, it just keeps getting better and better and better and better. And I always say he's the love of my life. And, that's why I want to say it's never too late. If you think, so many women think maybe it's too late. Maybe I missed my chance. Maybe I just need to accept what's available and settle for less. No, Queen, I'm here to tell you, you never have to settle, but you do have to shift. You do, because love at this stage isn't about finding someone to fill a void, or it's not about finding someone to fill a void or settling. It's about finding someone who matches who you are, who matches your frequency. You are a midlife queen and you need to embody that. You need to embody and be the woman whose energy says, I know my worth. I am safe to receive love. I honor my pleasure, my passions, my desires, and I am willing to be adored. I am ready to be cherished, to be devoured, to be honored, to be celebrated, to be cherished and worshipped. And then watch how love meets you there. You need to position yourself as the midlife queen that you are, because your king will then arrive, the one who is emotionally mature, available, grounded, present, devoted to you. He's not looking for perfection. He's looking for presence, your presence. He's looking for the woman who's not in her head trying to control the outcome, but is in her heart, in her body, radiating truth. So if you're listening and wondering how to start, where to begin, it all begins with you. It all begins with you coming back home to your body. Learn the language of your body. Notice when she tightens, when she opens, what makes her feel alive, what makes her feel good, what stresses her out. Learn the language of your body. That is embodiment 101. Soften your edges. Soften your nervous system. Learn how to anchor yourself in a regulated nervous system. Let life support you. Let others help you. Let yourself receive without guilt. That is how you start reclaiming your pleasure, how you start reclaiming your feminine ease, your feminine energy. Your feminine energy loves to be adored, to be free, loves to celebrate, to dance, to play, to be inspired, loves to be cherished, honored, and loves to be adored. So let yourself be all those things and reclaim your pleasure. Pleasure isn't a reward, it's your calibration point. Pleasure is your anchor. Pleasure is your set point. You need to recalibrate so that pleasure is your set point. The more you allow yourself to feel good, to feel pleasure, the more you attract good. The more you expand your capacity to receive, to experience, to feel. And trust divine timing. Trust yourself, trust life. You're not late, you're right on schedule. Love arrives when you're ready to hold it, not when you're desperate to find it. And midlife is not the end of your love story, my beautiful queen. Midlife is just the beginning. Midlife is the time to rewrite. This is where you get to reimagine, reinvent, and redesign yourself and your life. And the same happens to your love life. This is the chapter where you stop performing for love and you start embodying it, where you stop over functioning and you start receiving, where you stop chasing and you start magnetizing. Because when a woman in midlife learns how to feel safe in her body, because when a woman in midlife learns how to feel safe in her body, open in her heart and anchored in her worth, she becomes irresistible. So, my beautiful midlife queen listening, maybe you've been hurt, disappointed, or told you're too much, too late, too old, too whatever. I want you to know this. Love isn't something you find. Love is who you are. Love is something you remember. It's not waiting outside of you. It's waiting through you and inside you. And when you learn to embody that love within, first and foremost, you become the woman that attracts the kind of love that can meet you fully. You're not behind. You're just beginning your most beautiful chapter yet. I truly believe this because I've lived it and I've seen other women live it. So I know it's possible for you as well. And remember, you don't have to just be grateful for any love that comes your way. You don't have to just lower your standards because men our age want younger women, that the dating pool is dry. No, that's a lie designed to make powerful, wise, magnetic women play small and settle for less. You're not too old. You're not too much. You're not too late. What you are is energetically expensive. You're not for everyone. So you're no longer available for mediocre love, half presence, or unhealed energy matches. What makes you magnetic, you are only available for your energetic equal. And that's what makes you magnetic. And you're not looking for someone to fix or to mother, right? So if you're listening to this now, I want you to take a moment to take a deep breath in and truly feel, anchor yourself in your heart and in your womb. Breathe it in. Fill your heart with a big breath in and exhale. Settle in. Allow yourself to feel safe in this moment in your body and connect to your heart, to your womb, to your soul. Take a moment to close your eyes and remember. Take a moment to close your eyes and remember that love is not something you've missed. Love is not something you chase. Love is something you're finally ready for. Love is who you are, and you are ready for it from a higher frequency, from a deeper embodiment, and from a truthful place. You don't need to chase love. You need to remember love by coming back home to your body, your heart, your joy, your worth, your pleasure, your desires, your passions, because the moment you do, life starts matching that energy. And love, the kind that's rooted in mutual respect, passion, depth, devotion, becomes inevitable. You are a midlife queen. And the minute you start embodying that and becoming that more and more, you become irresistible. And the love of your life becomes inevitable. Now breathe that in. Anchor in, knowing that you are worthy of love at every stage of your life, and that the best is yet to come. I want to leave you with that feeling and that knowing that you are worthy and deserving of the highest love, of the most passionate, beautiful, deep love and devotion. You are worthy of being worshipped by your man, my beautiful queen. Never settle for less. And I'll leave you with that for today. If today's episode spoke to your heart, let me know in the comments how you feel, what were some of your takeaways. If you have questions, I'd love to hear them. And please share it with another midlife queen who needs to hear this message. And if you're ready to step into your next evolution, to become magnetic to love, success, joy, pleasure, passion from a place of embodiment, next week's episode is going to be so powerful, and I can't wait to share with you. It's going to be a really good one. We're going to go deep as always. Can't wait to share it with you. So stay tuned, and I'll see you on Monday. And as always, crown on and rock on, my beautiful midlife queens. Love you.